All right, what's up, ladies and gents? So this week we're going to be talking about a home invasion, and again, it's the same stuff that I keep seeing people screw up time and time again. So let's watch this video, and then we're going to break it down as to how I would recommend you guys prepare yourselves and respond to a home invasion like this one.
Get the fuck down.
All right, so at the end there, you kind of see that thing fall over, and that's because there was shooting going back and forth that took place. So let's go ahead and break this down and talk about what was so jacked up about this response. So first things first, ladies and gents, you see here that there's an apartment, good lighting, that could be, good deterrence, right? And so these guys obviously were not deterred. There was like 4 of them, and they all had weapons. I think 2 had rifles, 2 had pistols, if I'm not mistaken. We'll verify that here in just a second. But so obviously these guys were coming in with intent, okay? The first mistake that I see in this video is not having some sort of detection capability. Remember, the 4 pillars of home defense: deterrence, detection, and then delay, which we're about to get into, and then ultimately defend. So these guys were not deterred. So the next is going to be detection. Do you have something, in this case, when somebody enters your porch like that or are in front of your door, that automatically notifies you? Not something that like a doorbell, they have to push the doorbell, but like a camera with motion sensor notification that's properly calibrated so that it's not going off every time the wind blows or a dog walks by. It's going off when there's a human being in front of your door. So that's the next thing to talk about. Now, the next thing I want to discuss is the delay pillar. Since they have no detection capability, they start kicking in the door. 1, and you could always tell that they're inexperienced when they start throwing the shoulder into it. But 1, 2, 3. So those shoulders are really weak. If he would have just kicked it again, that door would have came right off the hinges. 2 kicks, ladies and gents. 2 kicks is all it takes to get your door off of that frame, to break the striker plate, where the actual, when you turn the handle, that thing that comes in and out, that's called the striker, and then the striker plate is that receptacle. Look, standard code in the United States is a 1/4-inch screw to hold in that striker plate, a 1/4-inch screw. By replacing those 1/4-inch screws with 3-inch screws, you just bought yourself like 100 kicks. So instead of 2 kicks, now they have to kick it 100 times. They're going to be physically exhausted by the time, if they ever actually do get that door off its frame. And so delay is that 3rd pillar of home defense strategy. Now, the 4th pillar is defense. You got 4 armed criminals coming into your house at this point. You can see here they bash back and forth a little bit. They're not too sure what's going on. Now, look at this. Both of these guys got their guns up, pointed where? Through the door, which is the fatal funnel. So let's talk about that here in a second. Now, people are coming into your home. Depending upon what state you live in, okay, this is justified deadly force right here. Justified deadly force. You're not asking what. They just kicked your door off the hinges. They got masks on, and they're coming into your house. You don't know them. I can't tell if you can see what time of night it is. No, it's kind of cut off down there at the bottom. But it's obviously at night. And so if you're in the state of Illinois and somebody kicks in your door like that, you neutralize them. Plain and simple. You're not giving them any other chances. Know your target. Consider the foreground and background always. That's your fourth weapon safety rule. But the moment you have these guys in your sights, you need to be engaging them in order to neutralize them as fast and as aggressively as possible. Because look at this. You're outgunned 4-1 right now. And depending upon what type of gun that you have, which we're going to talk about here in a second, and this homeowner's choice of weapon, you're definitely outgunned. You're outpowered and outgunned. And so he comes out, he says, what's going on? They go skirmishing back out. Now look where they're at. They're in a fatal funnel right now, guys. This is the opportune time to be engaging and neutralizing these threats. When they are making entry into the home, and then when they're standing in a channelized area, you can see off to the right here where the guy comes from eventually. This is like a hallway area. And so all he had to do was just sit in his bedroom door frame and he could start engaging them. They'd start pushing out, fumble into one another. And then if you are advanced in your training, you could pursue them to this point of domination and then be engaging them right here. But I honestly wouldn't even really recommend that. However, 4 against 1, maybe you got family in the house and you don't want them to be shooting and impacting all around you because you're family members. So at that point, I would pursue them to this point of domination and then begin engaging them. But they're screwed. They're not going to, they have nowhere to go. And so anyways, engage as soon as they're in the house. Now, the next mistake this guy makes when we talk about defense, you hear him cock the weapon once. So, okay, well then he turns on his lights. We do not turn on the lights in our home. You need a light mounted on your weapon system, plain and simple, or one that you can handheld carry, but just mount it on the gun. Way simpler. Then he comes out and he starts yelling at them, and then he completely exposes himself. Completely puts himself now in that fatal funnel. He's lucky they didn't just start shooting because they would have probably hit him. Now he has a handgun in his hand, a little dinky handgun that he cocked once and then he cocks twice. So I could even tell by the sound, he's not even chambering around. That is an unloaded weapon system. You do not ever, ever, ever go into a situation like this with an unloaded gun. I could hear it. I could tell that he is not chambering around in that gun. And even if he was, it's a little dinky 9mm or handgun, whatever it is. And that's no match for 2 rifles and 2 handguns. You're totally screwed at that point in time. So don't turn the lights on. You know your home better than anybody else. Have a flashlight mounted on the front of that weapon system, preferably a shotgun or a 9mm shoulder-fired weapon system like an MPX or an MP5. And have hollow point ammunition in that thing as well. For shotguns, use something like number 4 birdshot. Number 4 birdshot is like a heavy pellet birdshot, but it's going to be one of your best bets for not getting over penetration because, again, he's in an apartment complex. I don't know what the walls are made of, probably with some sort of concrete, or some sort of solid barrier in between the drywall, but you still don't want to like risk that. It could be like some sort of I forget what they call that, stucco or whatever, if he's in California, Arizona, something like that. And that stuff does get penetrated a little bit easier than concrete. And so you don't want to just be slinging shots all over the place. Use a shoulder-fired rifle that is capable of chambering 9mm with hollow point ammunition, flashlight mounted on the front, an aim point like a red dot so you could easily aim and acquire your targets. Don't turn the lights on or use a shotgun and then begin engaging as soon as you see them. Number 4 birdshot I think is a really good pellet to be using. And then don't go pursuing them into the fatal funnel. Like this guy, again, exposes himself completely, goes chasing after them, and he is so insanely lucky they did not murder him. I don't understand how a lot of criminals' minds think. These guys were obviously willing to bust into the house with a bunch of guns. I don't know if they were willing to use it or not. Probably the dumbest thing from this video is the unloaded gun. Like, this guy, I don't think he knows how lucky he is. And if you ever see this video guy, then you need to definitely call me because you need a lot of training. You need a lot of a big reality check, plain and simple. So yeah, I hope that is some good lessons for you guys there. 1, reinforce your striker plates. 2, have a means of detection, properly calibrated detection at your front door. 3, don't choose a handgun for home defense. It's the worst gun for home defense, hardest one to shoot accurately. 4, don't ever chase somebody with an unloaded gun or confront somebody with an unloaded gun. 5, don't turn the lights on once somebody's breaking into your home. You know the house better than anybody else. Have that light mounted on the front of your weapon system. 6, engage. Like, don't give these guys a chance to murder you or your family, by accident by popping off a bunch of shots and kill your little kid who's sleeping in the corner room. And then, 7, don't go pursuing them out into the fatal funnel. Keep yourself behind cover and concealment. And at that point, after you engage them, call 911. And so for anybody out there who is not a part of Lethality University watching this, then you need to be hitting me up so you can get this type of training from me directly. Check out our home defense series. And then for all the members of the Lethality University, let me know what questions you guys have, because this is really important. You got to know how to defend your home in this type of a situation.